It began on a quiet road just outside Pine Hollow, Georgia. The kind of place where porches leaned toward the street, and every house smelled faintly of honeysuckle and dust. In 1972, the world there moved slow. People trusted the sound of crickets more than the evening news. That summer, a boy named Daniel Cole walked home from baseball practice and never made it past the bridge. He was 12. His mother, Helen, told neighbors he must have stopped to catch fireflies. By morning, she stopped pretending she believed that. She kept the porch light on that night, just in case. No one thought it would stay on for 50 years. If this happened on your street, if your child vanished and time refused to move forward, would you ever turn the light off? Where are you watching from? Comment your state. The road to Pine Hollow never looked dangerous. It wound through cotton fields and clusters of oak. Its asphalt faded to a gray so pale it looked soft. People said you could smell the river long before you reached the bridge. Sweet, mossy, almost kind. That scent was part of daily life. Every morning, Helen Cole opened her kitchen window and let it drift in. In the summer of 1972, Helen was 43. Her life moved quietly, as if she were afraid of disturbing something fragile. Every day began the same. The creak of the screen door, the rattle of her son's cereal bowl, the sound of Daniel's shoes tapping the porch rail as he laced them. They lived by small routines, the sort that make time behave. That August evening started no different. The air hung heavy with the smell of pine and gasoline from tractors returning home. Daniel had his glove under one arm and his bat over his shoulder. He turned at the edge of the porch. "Be home before dark," Helen said, like she always did. He grinned, rolled his eyes, and disappeared down the road. The light changed slowly that night. The Georgia sky turned the color of rust, then cooled into a smoky blue. Helen made dinner for two and left Daniel's plate covered with a dish towel. She listened to the radio while folding laundry, waiting for his bike to rattle across the porch boards. At 8:30, the DJ played their favorite song, a tune Daniel used to hum while brushing his teeth. By 9, Helen's stomach hurt in that small way that comes before fear. By 10, she stepped outside. The air was still, the crickets too quiet. She looked down the road toward the bridge and saw nothing but fireflies floating in the dark. She called his name once. The sound didn't go far. When she called again, the echo sounded wrong, delayed, distant, as if something in the air swallowed it. She drove to the field, headlights sweeping through dust and tall grass. She called the coach, the sheriff, anyone who might have seen her boy. By midnight, the whole town was awake. Men in overalls, women in nightgowns, flashlights bobbing along the riverbank. The dogs barked until dawn. They found Daniel's bicycle half in the water, his glove snagged on a branch. But no footprints, no drag marks, no sign of struggle. The sheriff's report said possible accident. Helen refused to sign it. She said Daniel could swim. She said the river wasn't what took him. After everyone left, she sat on the porch with her coffee gone cold, and the lamp still burning beside her. It cast a circle of gold around her feet, pushing back the dark just enough to see the road. She thought if Daniel came home and saw it, he'd know she was waiting. The light became her promise, steady, warm, alive. At first, the neighbors understood. A mother's grief looks like faith from a distance. But when weeks passed and the bulb never dimmed, they began to whisper. Electric bills, obsession, ghosts. Someone even left a note on her door. Let him rest. She didn't answer. Instead, she kept the lamp clean, polished the glass, replaced every wire herself. When storms knocked power out, she lit it with a generator. The glow stayed constant, even when thunder rolled through the hills. There were nights when she thought she heard footsteps on the gravel road, slow, cautious, like a boy who'd missed curfew. Each time she stepped out, the road looked empty but not lonely. The sound of cicadas filled the air, thick and restless. She sometimes whispered to them as if they could carry words into the trees. "Come home, baby. Just come home." Over time, the lamp became part of the landscape. Drivers used it as a landmark. Turn right at the house with the light still on. Children told stories about the woman who never slept. Evening news crews came once a year for a segment on Southern resilience. Helen sat on her porch, nodding politely as cameras filmed her weathered hands gripping the armrest. When they asked why she never turned it off, she smiled the same tired smile. "If he's still out there, he'll see it. And if he's not, it's the only way I remember what hope feels like." Years blurred. The trees grew taller. Her hair turned gray. Neighbors moved away, new families came. But the porch light never went dark. Some nights, people driving the back road said they saw the glow before they heard it. A faint hum under the lamp, like electricity singing. They thought it was old wiring. Helen said it sounded more like breathing. The sheriff retired. The file went cold. But for Helen, the waiting never cooled. She still cooked for two. Still set a plate out on the table. Still checked the bridge every morning. Time in Pine Hollow slowed to match her heartbeat. By the 20th anniversary, locals held a vigil. Candles lined the riverbank, flickering against the dark. When the church bell rang, all the lights along Main Street were turned off except Helen's. Someone later said the glow from her porch stretched farther that night than anyone could remember, all the way to the bridge. And maybe, for a moment, the road looked like it was remembering him too. Temporal layer. Spring. 1989 Pine Hollow had changed, but only on paper. The diner where Helen once worked had closed. The post office shared space with the fire department. But people still drove past her house, slowing as they approached the light. Truckers said it felt wrong to pass it without nodding. The local paper printed a small piece. 17 years of light. They didn't call her crazy. They called her constant. One reporter described the glow as the color of forgiveness. Helen kept that clipping in a frame beside Daniel's school photo. The glass was cracked, but she said it didn't matter. The picture's still inside. QHR broadcast. June 14th, 1989. It's been 17 years since young Daniel Cole vanished from this quiet Georgia town. His mother, Helen, still leaves the porch light on every night. Locals call it the Lantern of Pine Hollow. Helen Cole. People stop by sometimes, leave flowers. "I don't mind. Just don't touch the light." Reporter. "What does it mean to you now?" Helen. "It means he still has a way back." Neighbor testimony, recorded 1990. "We got used to that light. It's like part of the sky now. But once around 86, I saw something strange. Fog rolled in thick, couldn't see past my mailbox. Then the light dimmed, real slow, like it was breathing. I swear I saw a shadow cross the porch, small like a boy. I called out, but no one answered." Reporter's note, the lamp never flickered again. Still, the truth hadn't surfaced yet. When she first saw the light, she thought it was a reflection, a simple bulb burning over a wooden porch in the middle of nowhere. But as she drove closer, the glow deepened, as if it had weight, like a small sun pinned to the earth. Her name was Claire Jennings. She worked for a local radio station in Atlanta, still new enough to say yes to the stories no one else wanted. Her producer called it a human interest piece, a mother, a missing boy, a lamp that had never gone dark. Claire wasn't sure she believed in sentimentality, but there was something about the idea of a light waiting 50 years that made her restless. It reminded her of her own mother, gone now but still present in the quiet moments. She arrived just before dusk. The road narrowed to gravel. Trees leaned in close, heavy with Spanish moss. She parked near the mailbox that had rusted into a shape no longer legible. When she opened her door, the air was warm and smelled faintly of lightning. The lamp was brighter than she expected. It threw long shadows across the yard, and bugs swirled in its halo like fragments of dust caught between worlds. Helen Cole stood on the porch, small and thin, wrapped in a cardigan that looked older than Claire. Her eyes had that tired softness people carry when they've waited too long for something that won't arrive. "Evening," Helen said. Her voice was soft but not frail. Claire climbed the steps, notebook in hand, tape recorder ready. She asked for an interview. Helen nodded, gestured to the empty chair beside her. "Sit if you like. Light's easier to talk to when someone else is here." They sat together while the sky dimmed. The world went blue, then black, and still the porch glowed gold. The lamp buzzed faintly, a hum that seemed too low for electricity, too steady for wind. Claire asked about Daniel. Helen told the story without hesitation, each detail rehearsed through decades of memory. His glove, the bridge, the search that led nowhere. Every word landed with calm precision. When Helen spoke of the first night, her gaze didn't move from the lamp. "He wasn't the kind to wander," she said. "Always came home by supper. When he didn't, I thought maybe he saw something out there worth looking at. But I know better now. He saw something that looked back." Claire leaned forward. "What do you mean by that?" Helen smiled faintly. "You don't have to believe me. Just listen when it's quiet." For a long moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the hum beneath the bulb, and the occasional rustle of wind moving through the pines. Then, very faintly, Claire heard it. A rhythm beneath the buzz. Not music, not static. Something slow and patient, like breathing through water. She thought it must be power lines. But when she glanced up, she saw the cord that fed the lamp hung loose, not connected to anything at all. Helen noticed her look. "Lost power years ago. Generator died after the storm of '82. But it still burns." Never asked how. "Some things don't owe you answers." Claire stared at the glass globe, its filament glowing with soft amber light. The longer she looked, the less she could tell where the glow ended and the air began. It wasn't bright, not really, just steady, as if it remembered how the world used to be lit. As the night deepened, crickets returned, chirping in strange syncopation. Every seventh beat seemed to pause just slightly, before resuming. Claire's tape recorder caught the silence like a heartbeat missing a note. They talked until after midnight. Helen told her about the letters she'd written to the sheriff every year on Daniel's birthday. About the small gifts people left on the porch. Baseballs, paper cranes, one cracked mirror. "I never asked for any of it," she said. "But it helps to know someone else remembers he was real." Claire stayed the night. She lay on the sofa in the living room, the lamp's glow seeping through the curtains, painting the walls in gold. At some point, she dreamed of footsteps on gravel, faint and uneven. When she opened her eyes, the sound stopped. The light flickered once, then steadied, and she thought she heard a voice outside, a boy whispering her name, soft as a sigh. She told herself it was exhaustion, imagination, the hum of an old wire. But when she checked the recorder the next morning, she found a 7-second gap of silence, where no background noise existed. At the end of that gap, a voice, barely audible, said, "I see it." Claire played it again and again, trying to decide whether it was her own breath. It wasn't. Before she left, Helen thanked her. "Most people come to see a mystery," she said. "You came to see the waiting. That's the real story." Claire promised to send her the recording once it aired. Helen nodded, then looked toward the lamp. "Don't play it near dark," she said. "Light doesn't like to be reminded." Temporal layer, autumn. 1990 Claire's story aired on local radio under the title, The Woman Who Waited. It ran 12 minutes long, ending with the 7-second silence. Listeners called in for days. Some said they heard the voice. Others said their radios hissed when the clip played. Helen wrote Claire a thank you note, signed simply, "Still here." 2 months later, the station burned down in an electrical fire that started in the audio archive. The only tape that survived was the interview with Helen. When played back years later, the silence had grown longer. Now it lasted 7 minutes. Echo layer, County Dispatch recording, March 1991. Dispatch 911. What's your emergency? Caller, it's the light. Dispatch. Ma'am, I need you to speak clearly. Caller, the porch light. It's brighter tonight. It's moving. Dispatch, moving how? Caller, it's not the bulb. It's the glow. Like it's spreading across the road. Pause dispatch. Is Mrs. Cole there with you? Caller, no, the house is empty. But the door's open. Dispatch, stay in your vehicle. Officers are on the way. Silence, then faint humming. Caller, I think I hear someone. Dispatch, what do you hear? Caller, a boy. He's saying, turn the light off, end of recording. Still, the truth hadn't surfaced yet. The rain came without warning. Not the soft kind that lulls you to sleep, but the sudden kind that feels personal. Heavy, urgent, alive. By dusk, thunder was already crawling across the hills. In Pine Hollow, storms weren't rare, but this one had weight, as if the air itself had been waiting to break. Helen watched from the porch. The lamp's glow bent under the wind, flickering across the wet boards like a heartbeat struggling to hold steady. She pulled her shawl tight and looked down the road toward the bridge, the same direction she'd been looking for 20 years. Rain hit the steps in sheets, washing through cracks, filling grooves carved by years of waiting. The world felt smaller when it stormed. Even the trees leaned closer, listening. The radio inside crackled once, then went silent. Power lines danced like jump ropes across the road. The town's lights began winking out one by one until the valley was swallowed by dark. But Helen's porch stayed bright. A neighbor across the field, Tom Weaver, saw it through his window. He told the sheriff later that it was the strangest thing. Every house blacked out, but Helen's porch shone like sunrise. He swore the glow reached halfway down the road. It wasn't white anymore, he said. It was gold. Inside, Helen sat in her chair with the transistor radio on her lap, fingers tracing the edges of Daniel's photograph. The rain against the roof drowned every other sound. Somewhere between thunderclaps, she thought she heard knocking. Soft, deliberate, 3 times. She opened the door, expecting wind, maybe a fallen branch. But the porch was empty. Only the light hummed, steady as breathing. She called out into the storm. Her voice didn't travel far. The rain ate it whole. When she stepped forward, something shifted. The glow brightened for a second, long enough for her to see a shape near the edge of the yard. A silhouette, small, standing still. Her breath caught. She whispered his name. The shape didn't move. It shimmered once and was gone. But the light dimmed, then pulsed like it was reacting. Tom Weaver said he saw the same flicker from his window, said it looked like the lamp inhaled. Then the rain came harder, blurring everything beyond his fence. The next morning, the storm had passed. The sun rose clear and sharp, slicing through the mist. When Tom walked down to check on Helen, the front door was open. Her chair was empty. The lamp was off. For the first time in 21 years, Pine Hollow looked like any other town. The sheriff found her shoes by the steps. Dry. Inside, the radio had melted from the lightning surge, but the dial was frozen on one station, WQHR 92.7, the same frequency that had aired her interview, and on the porch rail a cup of coffee sat half full, rainwater resting on top. Still warm. By afternoon, the power company restored the grid. Every house flickered back to life except hers. The bulb remained dark. They replaced the socket, rewired the panel, checked the fuses. Nothing. The electrician said the current was fine. The problem wasn't the power. It was the lamp itself. They buried Helen next to her husband, under the same oak that had shaded Daniel's childhood. No children, no family left. Just a handful of neighbors and one reporter who drove in from Atlanta with flowers. Claire stood at the graveside, notebook closed, voice recorder silent. The wind shifted, carrying the faint smell of burnt ozone. When she looked toward the coal house, she saw something through the rain-streaked glass. A faint glow. She didn't tell anyone. Some things she decided weren't meant to be shared. They just needed to be seen once to know they were real. That night, the county dispatch received 2 calls from drivers on County Road 12. Both said they saw a porch light burning near the bridge. Both said the rest of the road was dark. When deputies arrived, the house was empty. The lamp was cold, but when they stepped onto the porch, one of their flashlights flickered 7 times before dying completely. One of them, Officer Dan Foley, kept a journal afterward. He wrote about dreams that started a week later. Dreams of water and laughter, and a faint voice calling from across the river. He said the sound came just before dawn, always the same phrase, "Don't turn it off." Years later, when the coal property was sold, the new owners tore down the porch and built a modern deck. They threw the old lamp away, or thought they did. A month later, the same model light appeared hanging from their back door, humming faintly, though it was never wired. The family moved out within a year. The lamp was left behind. When Claire returned to Pine Hollow in 1995 for a follow-up, she found the house boarded, the lawn gone to seed. But the bulb, somehow, still glowed behind the boards, leaking light through the cracks like it refused to stop remembering. She stood there for a long time, trying to record it. Her device captured only silence. Not static, not wind. Just the sound of time holding its breath. She played it back in her car, listening until the tape ended. Then, right before the click, a whisper. Too soft to belong to the storm. It said, "I found it." Still, the truth hadn't surfaced yet. The first video appeared online in early 2001. Grainy, silent, filmed from a car window on a dirt road no one could quite identify. At first, there was nothing but darkness, the hum of an engine, the sweep of headlights over trees. Then, for less than 2 seconds, a faint glow appeared ahead. It wasn't the glare of glass or the reflection of rain. It was warmer, steadier, like something alive holding its breath. The clip lasted 27 seconds. It was uploaded under the title, "The Pine Hollow Light, 1972 to Present." No one claimed it. Within a week it had been downloaded, mirrored, reposted, and dissected frame by frame. People argued about everything. The shadows, the shape of the glow, the possibility that it was nothing but a porch bulb caught in fog. But what caught attention wasn't the image. It was the audio track. Under the hiss of old film there was a sound, a low rhythmic pulse at exactly 72 beats per minute. The same number that marked the year Daniel Cole disappeared. Audio engineers said it was coincidence. Historians said it was compression noise. But when they removed the static, a voice surfaced. It whispered, "I see it." That phrase matched the last line of the lost WQHR tape. The same one Claire Jennings had aired in 1989. The same one that had burned in the station fire. The internet decided it couldn't be real. And yet the more they tried to debunk it, the more files began to appear. A user on a paranormal forum uploaded a cleaned version of the sound. He wrote that he'd run it through spectrogram software, and when he looked at the image, the waveform formed a pattern that looked like a small circle of light surrounded by 12 smaller ones. 12. The number of years Helen had waited before the first reporter came. By 2005, the Pine Hollow thread had grown into hundreds of posts. Some people treated it like folklore. Others treated it like a live investigation. Locals started to report strangers showing up on County Road 12 at night, filming, measuring radiation, holding microphones toward the trees. No one ever found the original house, only a foundation swallowed by weeds. But some claimed they could still hear electricity under the ground, a hum that vibrated through their shoes. The Georgia Power Archives show something stranger. Between 2002 and 2007, the company logged 21 unexplained voltage spikes within a 1-mile radius of Pine Hollow. Each spike lasted less than a second. Each occurred on the anniversary week of Daniel's disappearance. The engineers called them phantom loads. They were never traced to any physical line. When local authorities reopened the case files for digital preservation, a mislabeled cassette was found in a sealed evidence bag. Handwriting on the label, Cole Property, 1993 Storm Night. The tape was blank until it wasn't. Halfway through, static shaped itself into a faint voice. A woman's tired but steady. She said, "He's almost here." Then came the hum again, low, constant, surrounding. Technicians shut the player off after it began to heat in their hands. Word spread. Online forums turned into documentaries. Clips resurfaced on early video sites, then migrated to YouTube. Some versions slowed the hum to half speed, revealing what sounded like breathing. Others sped it up and claimed to hear a heartbeat. Every theory contradicted another, but one detail stayed the same. Each recording, no matter the year, ended with a single electric click, the sound of a light turning on. The county eventually fenced off the property. Signs went up: no trespassing, contaminated soil. Researchers from a small university in Tennessee received temporary access to take electromagnetic readings. They reported interference at a fixed frequency of 19.72 kilohertz. When plotted on a graph, the signal pulsed in intervals of 12 seconds. They called it the Cole pattern. For them, it was data. For locals, it was proof the light was still burning somewhere underground. Around 2010, someone claiming to be a retired power technician emailed one of the researchers. He said he'd been part of the crew that disconnected the Cole property lines in 1983. He remembered it because the wires were already cold, no current, no connection, yet the lamp still glowed. He wrote, "We cut everything. The bulb stayed lit for 22 seconds. No one could verify it." The man died a month later. Years passed. The road to Pine Hollow was erased from most maps, replaced by forest trails and half-collapsed bridges. But at night, long-haul drivers said they could see a dim gold shimmer through the trees, as though someone were standing deep in the woods holding a lantern. Some honked when they passed, out of habit or superstition. Some didn't, and for reasons no one ever explained, cell signals dropped to zero for exactly 12 miles surrounding the old property line. GPS units froze. Digital clocks blinked 12:12, always 12. Researchers came and went. Theories multiplied, but no one ever found the lamp. The light had changed places. It had become part of the air. Still, the truth hadn't surfaced yet. The recording shouldn't have existed. Every copy of it had been destroyed, cataloged, and erased from archives long before anyone digitized the Pine Hollow files. But in 2014, a cold storage server at a university lab in Knoxville started playing an audio clip on its own. No human command, no trigger. It began looping every night at 12:12 a.m. The file had no name, just a string of numbers: 197206221. June 21st, 1972, night Daniel disappeared. At first, it was only static. Then a low hum, steady and calm. The same pulse the researchers had measured on site, 19.72 kilohertz. The spectrogram revealed a faint shape hiding under the sound, a voice pattern too human to ignore. Someone whispered through the noise, "He's still out there." The sound engineer, David Lorne, thought it was interference. He slowed it down, adjusted the pitch, filtered the noise. What he heard next made him stop breathing. A woman's voice, fragile, southern, older. Helen Cole. Her speech patterns matched the 1989 WQHR broadcast. The cadence was identical. She said, "Daniel, come home." David replayed the file dozens of times. Each pass revealed new fragments hidden within the hum. A child laughing, the creak of porch steps, and a faint rhythmic heartbeat buried beneath the static. When he isolated that heartbeat, he discovered something strange. It matched the exact resting pulse rate of a 12-year-old boy. He documented everything. The frequency peaks, the waveform anomalies, the thermal response of the audio file itself. It warmed up under playback, like the energy wasn't just sound but heat. Every scientist who touched it recorded the same results. No one could explain it, but the media caught wind of the experiment. Soon the internet was calling it the lost frequency. Forums filled with claims that the signal caused hallucinations. Some said if you listened to the recording alone in the dark, you'd hear breathing behind you. Others claimed to have seen a faint gold shimmer in their reflection when the audio peaked. The government called it superstition, but the file kept spreading. Copied, compressed, remixed, uploaded to music sites, folded into podcasts and art projects. It became background noise for millions who didn't realize what they were hearing. And then something happened. One night in 2016, an online streamer used the lost frequency as an ambient track for a paranormal Q&A. Halfway through her live broadcast, viewers noticed a figure reflected in her webcam, a boy standing in the doorway behind her, motionless. When she turned around, no one was there. The video froze for 12 seconds before the stream went offline. When she returned, her audio setup was fried. The only file left intact on her computer was 19720621 WAV. Experts tried to track the source of the frequency. It appeared in multiple places, Wi-Fi networks, radio stations, even in the white noise of television static. Always the same hum. Always the same 12-second cycle. A pulse moving through the air like memory refusing to die. David Lorne became obsessed. He spent months chasing the origin, triangulating the strongest signals. They all pointed to one place, the coordinates of the old coal property. He drove there on June 21st, exactly 44 years to the day after Daniel vanished. No equipment survived the night. His phone melted internally from heat exposure, though the temperature outside never rose above 70 degrees. When authorities found his van, the battery was dead. The radio dial was locked on 92.7 FM. The speakers were humming. A final log entry on his recorder survived. It lasted 12 seconds. Static, then breathing, and a voice. He's home. That file is now known as the Lost Frequency version 12. Every time someone uploads it, the audio waveform changes slightly. Some engineers say it's evolving, learning how to exist inside newer forms of technology. Others say it's reaching for something. Maybe for someone. The production van reached the edge of Pine Hollow just after sunset. The forest had swallowed the old county road, and the last mile had to be walked. The air felt wrong, too still, too heavy, as if the trees were holding their breath. The year was 2020. The team came from a streaming studio in Atlanta, working on a limited docu-series about American urban legends. Their lead producer, Megan Carter, called it The Light That Wouldn't Die. It was supposed to be a 2-day shoot. It lasted 4 hours. The footage begins normal, handheld, low light, muted laughter. They joke about ghosts and mosquitoes, complain about the heat. Then someone pans the camera across a clearing. You can hear Megan say, "Is that it?" And there, half hidden in vines and fog, the foundation of the coal house waits like a scar in the ground. The camera tilts down. There's a small glass shard in the dirt, amber curved, catching light from nowhere. They film it, tag it, move on. That's when the static starts. Their walkie-talkies crackle with a soft hum, steady, rhythmic, 12 beats apart. The sound operator taps the receiver, thinking it's feedback. It isn't. The hum grows louder, deep enough to feel in the chest. Then it stops. Silence. And over the silence, a single click like a light switch being turned on. Their cameras adjust exposure automatically. The forest brightens faintly, but no source is visible. The light seems to come from the air itself, a glow with no center. You can hear one of them whisper, "It's under us." They find the foundation, circular, concrete, split down the middle. In the center lies a small metal frame, rusted and half-buried, the remains of a lamp mount. Megan crouches beside it, brushing away soil. Her flashlight flickers once, then steadies. When she touches the base, the sound returns. A low hum pulsing through the ground, matching her heartbeat. She calls to the others, tells them to record everything. The cameras catch the moment clearly. The lamp base warming under her hand. The air thickening, the first faint glow rising through the cracks in the cement. No one moves. No one speaks. The footage skips. When it resumes, the timestamp has advanced 12 minutes. The team is standing in the same place, but the light is now bright enough to cast shadows. Megan's voice is quiet, almost hypnotic. "She's here," she says. Then softer. "Daniel, too." The camera shakes. One of the crew, Andre, backs away. His headset picks up breathing, not his own. A boy's breath, shallow and nervous. He whispers, "Who's behind me?" No one answers. The last 30 seconds of footage are chaos, flashes, shouts, heavy footsteps. Something metallic falls. Someone screams, not from pain, but recognition. Then black hole. The police found the van the next morning, engine running, doors open, headlights still on. Inside, 5 phones lay neatly stacked on the passenger seat. All batteries dead. All clocks frozen at 12:12. The cameras were recovered, but only one had usable data. A single clip 32 seconds long. It shows Megan standing alone in the clearing. Her expression calm, almost peaceful. In front of her, a faint gold glow rises like mist from the ground. She looks toward it, then straight into the lens. Smiles. Then she says something, barely audible beneath the static. Experts slowed the audio dozens of times to isolate her voice. Every version produces the same 2 words. Still waiting. The rest of the team was never found. No footprints, no broken gear, no signs of struggle. Just an empty clearing and the smell of ozone. The lamp base is gone. Weeks later, the streaming company released a short memorial cut of the footage. They removed Megan's final smile, but left the glow. Within hours, the clip reached 2 million views. Comments filled with people claiming they saw faces moving inside the light. Others said they could hear a boy laughing faintly when the video ended. The company disabled comments, then the upload vanished, but people kept sharing it. Mirror copies appeared on new channels. And if you freeze the video at exactly the 20-second mark, you can see behind Megan's shoulder a small shape standing at the edge of the light. A child, barefoot, watching. You arrive before dawn. The GPS ends miles ago, but the van keeps rolling forward, guided by instinct and a signal that isn't supposed to exist. Outside the windshield, fog drifts in long, pale ribbons, twisting around the trees like breath. Somewhere in the static of your recorder, a faint hum has been growing louder for miles. It matches the waveform you've heard in every file. 19.72 kilohertz, the frequency that started all this. You park at the dead end of County Road 12. Silence. No birds, no wind. Only that steady vibration under the earth, like the ground itself remembers what happened here. You step out, camera in hand, microphone already armed. Your breath fogs the lens for a moment, then clears. There's nothing but grass and the faint outline of a foundation swallowed by time. The world feels thinner here, as if one wrong sound could tear it open. You speak softly into the recorder. "This is the Vanished Docs team. Pine Hollow, Georgia. Coordinates confirmed." Your voice sounds small against the silence. You play it back once, there's a second voice under yours. A whisper repeating the same line, 1/2 second behind. You walk forward. The soil shifts underfoot, spongy, warm. The closer you get to the center, the stronger the hum becomes. Your equipment begins to distort. The monitor glitches with thin bars of gold static. It almost looks like light trying to take form. Then, for the first time, you see it, the glow. It doesn't shine from one place. It rises everywhere like mist caught between worlds. The color isn't white or yellow, something deeper, alive, as if the air itself is remembering warmth. You lift your camera, focus through the haze. The lens struggles to find shape, then locks onto movement. Two figures faint side by side, a woman and a boy. They aren't standing on the ground. They're inside the glow, their faces barely visible through the shimmer. The boy looks younger than 12, eyes bright with the kind of curiosity that only exists before fear. The woman looks calm, peaceful, watching you like she's been waiting. "Mrs. Cole?" you whisper. The figures shift slightly, the light trembling around them like breath against glass. The boy steps forward. His outline sharpens. You see the shape of a baseball glove in his hand. The woman's voice follows, quiet but clear. "Don't turn it off." The glow expands suddenly, swallowing the frame. Your camera cuts out. Only the audio keeps recording. A heartbeat, then a soft laugh. For 7 seconds, nothing but warmth and breathing. Then static. Then silence. When the footage is recovered later, the timestamps don't match. 12 minutes missing. Every sensor reading shows 0 power draw. Yet the files play with a faint golden flicker across each frame. Someone slows the footage to half speed. For a moment, the glow resolves into something almost human. The woman turning her head, looking straight into the lens, and whispering words that no software can isolate. Viewers claim they can hear them if they listen at night. Some say she's saying thank you. Others swear she says stay. The full video uploads to YouTube on July 21, 2024. Title: The Vanished Docs, Pine Hollow Case, The Porch Light That Never Went Out. It trends within hours. Comments fill the page. Some terrified, some reverent, some saying they saw someone move behind the narrator. At the 20-second mark, the light in the background flares. For a single frame, your reflection appears in the glass of the lens. Eyes wide, mouth open, frozen mid-sentence. But you never remember that moment. When you replay the exported file later, the outro voice sounds distorted. It's supposed to be your narration, but it isn't. It's older, softer. A woman's voice saying the closing line. Some stories were never meant to stay buried. Don't let them vanish. Keep them alive with us. The outro music fades. The screen turns black. Then one last sound. The faint click of a light turning on. Still, the truth hadn't surfaced yet.